Let's address something you've surely already experienced, but have preferred not to acknowledge, because the reality is that when the cosmos wants to distance you from someone, it executes it in ways so clear that it's painful to accept. And if you feel pain, it's because you continue resisting something that has already been determined. The hardest part is that the signs were present from the beginning. You overlooked them, excused them, clung to the belief that things would improve. However, now, after so much exhaustion, you begin to question. What if none of this is coincidence? Your body perceives it before you acknowledge it. It manifests it, but your reason, always so proud, tries to explain everything. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you felt restless with that person? Without clear reason, how many times have you observed that instead of tranquility, that connection produces stress? Isn't it strange that your breathing alters when you're near? That sleeplessness appears, that your abdomen contracts or bothers you, as if something inside you were crying out that you don't belong there, but you didn't pay attention. And it's that no one wants to acknowledge that what they desire most is precisely what is ruining them most. Do you want to know what truly happens when the cosmos doesn't want you to remain with someone? Listen to this first. Everything begins with small signs. A bad feeling that you dismiss, phrases that don't fit, close people who alert you, but whom you choose to catalog as jealous or dramatic. You still don't understand it, but in that instant, the universe is already tipping the balance toward the other side. Subsequently come the obstacles, projects that don't materialize, dialogues that feel artificial, confusions that emerge without cause. You have the impression that every attempt to approach that person demands extraordinary effort, as if something imperceptible were trying to distance you. And the most serious of all, your energy is depleted. You begin to perceive that this person no longer stimulates you, no longer motivates you, you no longer feel authentic. Your radiance extinguishes, your joy is less frequent, your drive evaporates. And if you've reached this point, if you really identify with this, let me express a raw truth to you. It's not love, it's resistance. You've adhered to a narrative that doesn't belong to you. You've mistaken intensity for destiny. You've thought that the more complicated a relationship is, the more you deserve it. But love is not a conflict. It's not about resisting among ruins. It's about flowing. And if the universe is doing everything possible to distance you from someone, why do you continue battling to remain? Here is where the hardest part of all this emerges. The universe doesn't just notify you, it compels you. If you don't heed the gentle signals, severe lessons will arrive. An accident, a betrayal, an emotional breakdown so immense that you feel you can't resist anymore. Why? Because when you adhere to what doesn't belong to you, existence will take care of breaking you until you understand. It's not punishment, it's redirection, and I understand. It causes suffering. It causes suffering to acknowledge that this person didn't correspond to you. It causes suffering to release the notion of what could have happened. But tell me, what causes more suffering? Acknowledging reality now, or continuing to ignore it until the damage is definitive? Do you truly experience tranquility with that person? If the answer isn't a resounding yes, then you already have your answer and the choice belongs to you. You heed the cosmos now, or wait for it to execute it for you. And trust me, when the cosmos acts, it's never gentle. Do you truly experience tranquility with that person? If the answer isn't a resounding yes, then you already have your answer, and the choice belongs to you. You heed the cosmos now, or wait for it to execute it for you. And trust me, when the cosmos acts, it's never gentle. Initially it whispers to you, a small discomfort, a strange perception in your chest, something you can't describe, but that is present. A premonition, a minimal aspect that you dismiss. Subsequently it pushes you, absurd disputes, obvious signs, progressively greater impediments that obstruct you from progressing with that person. But if you persist without heeding, the cosmos will have no alternative but to uproot you completely. Because here's the great question you must ask yourself right now. Have you ever observed someone adhering with all their energies to a narrative that was already fractured? It's dramatic. They adhere until nothing remains, until love corrupts, until exhaustion is so severe they don't even identify themselves in the reflection. And the most serious thing is that you yourself could find yourself in that circumstance. The cosmos doesn't want you in a place where you lose your nature. It doesn't want you in a connection where you question your being, where you walk with fear, where your instinct cries out that something isn't working well. But you continue because you consider that battling is appropriate, but it's not. There aren't always confrontations that aren't predestined to triumph because they simply should never have been fought. But not only does the cosmos notify you, your body also begins with small alarms, headaches without cause, sleeplessness, incomprehensible exhaustion, the perception that being with that person doesn't grant you energy. It subtracts it from you. Your abdomen contracts when you receive a message from them. Your breathing modifies when you're near. And the most serious of all, your mind becomes saturated with interference because love isn't supposed to be an internal battle. You're not supposed to have to persuade yourself daily that it's worth it. When something belongs to you, it flows. When it doesn't, the cosmos will establish all possible barriers until you understand it. But here emerges the most serious thing. The human being is obstinate. We adhere. We consider that we know more than existence, that we can transform the other person, that if we make enough effort, circumstances will improve. We lie to ourselves. We deceive ourselves. And in the process, we annihilate ourselves. Then the cosmos changes tactics. It begins to remove everything that links you to that connection. People, moments, even possibilities. It makes it progressively more complicated to maintain the unsustainable. And if you still continue opposing, it will make you lose yourself. This is where the impact intensifies. You transform into someone you don't identify. You lose your tranquility, your energy, your luminosity. You become a version of yourself that you don't even appreciate. And yet you remain there because the fear of releasing is more intense than the reality of what you're experiencing. But tell me something. Do you truly consider that to be love? Love doesn't make you perceive that you're walking on fragmented glass. It doesn't keep you in a perpetual state of uneasiness. It doesn't make you doubt your worth. Nor does it make you dependent on someone who isn't willing to offer you what you require. And if the cosmos has already provided you sufficient evidence that there isn't your place, what are you waiting for to leave? Because here's the rawest part of all this. The more time you adhere to what doesn't belong to you, the more you distance yourself from what truly belongs to you. You've been captive in a narrative that should never have been yours. And the most fearful thing is that while you remain there, losing yourself in a connection that only harms you, the person with whom you could really build something continues waiting on another path. But you won't perceive them until you release, until you allow yourself to heed, until you cease insisting on a love that is already extinct. Because the cosmos doesn't want to see you suffering. But if you choose to ignore it, then you'll learn in the most terrible way possible. Not because the cosmos is merciless, but because it's the only way we sometimes understand. So I leave you with the only question that truly matters. Are you going to continue ignoring the signs, or are you going to act about it? Are you going to continue ignoring the signs, or are you going to act about it? Because the reality is this. The cosmos always grants you alternatives, but it will never force you to adopt them. You can remain in an infinite cycle of exhaustion, battling against something that is already predestined to fracture, or you can dare to release. But releasing isn't simple. It never is. Because when you finally choose to distance yourself from what doesn't belong to you, silence arrives. And in that silence, you confront the most severe truth of all. You were wasting time on something that was never going to work. And that causes suffering. It causes suffering to acknowledge that you were wrong. It causes suffering to accept that all the effort, affection, possibilities weren't enough. But do you want to know something more painful? Remaining in a place where you know you're not happy, because in the end the time you waste sustaining what doesn't belong to you never returns. And here emerges the most fascinating thing. When you finally choose to release, when you surrender to the inevitable and stop forcing, something almost prodigious happens. Your existence transforms. Now, I want to stop for a moment. And before continuing with this exciting video, I want to present you with the following. Our book, Your higher self is now available. In the first comment of this video, you'll have the acquisition link and all its information. This isn't a simple book. It's a journey of interior discovery where you'll learn to reprogram your mind to be able to change your entire environment and all aspects of your life. You'll learn to feel complete like you've never experienced before. Your higher self, a deeper connection. What was once confusion becomes clarity. What once seemed like a condemnation transforms into freedom. Your energy returns, your mind becomes serene, and you begin to perceive what was previously diffuse. Because when you adhere to what doesn't belong to you, you blind yourself. You don't observe beyond that relationship, that person, that story you believed should be yours. But when you release, it's as if everything returns to its place. And don't misunderstand me, it doesn't mean that suffering vanishes immediately. It doesn't mean you'll wake up the next day without experiencing a hole in your chest. But each day will hurt less. Each day will be simpler until one day, without realizing it, you'll notice that you no longer reflect on that person, that they no longer impact you, that you've recovered what you believed lost, your tranquility. And it's in that instant where the most unexpected of all happens. Existence presents you with something new. A person, a possibility, a destiny completely different from what you were adhered to, but that suddenly possesses more logic than everything you had experienced previously. Because when you release what doesn't belong to you, you generate space for what does belong to you. But this is only understood by the audacious. Those who dare to release before existence compels them. And what are you going to execute? Are you going to continue in a place where you know you don't belong, or are you going to take control and open yourself to what is truly predestined for you? Leave it to me in the comments. I want to read you, and if you've made it this far, I want you to write this phrase in the comments. I trust the cosmos' signs because in the end, everything is there. You just have to learn to heed. If this message has resonated with you, if you perceive that this was precisely what you required to hear, subscribe, because this is the type of truth that no one expresses to you, but that you need to know. We'll meet in the next video, and remember, what belongs to you, you'll never have to force.